All right, so here we go. We got a lot going on today. A new patch is coming out tomorrow. And yes, we are going to be talking about that 7th operation because we've got some major teases going on in this image. There are so many hidden secrets within this image related to the 7th operation that's coming up here eventually. And we're going to talk about what those secrets are. Plus, it could ultimately lead us to a large hive ship. I'll explain in just a moment. But yeah, a patch is releasing tomorrow. And there is going to be downtime for about an hour starting at 9 a.m. UTC time. So expect some disconnects. You have been warned appropriately since they don't have an in-game menu that pops up that warns us. So hopefully that can help you guys out. But there's also going to be patch notes, as I did reach out to the dev team, ask them, hey, when are we getting patch notes? That will be happening alongside the patch. So look for my video tomorrow on that one. But we also have to talk about some problems going on with the tyranids and how some players might actually be apprehensive about another new operation beyond Operation 7 that we would be ultimately getting. We'll talk about that. Also, some players despise this about Ruthless difficulty and want it adjusted. And yes, how Saber Interactive isn't going to be making this one big mistake going forward with the development of Space Marine 2. And I'm doing something a little different with Top Comics today. You're going to definitely want to check that one out. But yeah, take a look at this right here. So yeah, we got to talk about what's going on with Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader in 2024. This is, of course, the first classic CRPG in the Warhammer 40K universe, introducing a brand new massive DLC. This is packing in 14 to 15 hours. This one is called Void Shadows. And what's so very special about this DLC in particular is the Void ship. It's like a massive city floating around space. There's a lot to do here, and we're going to be discovering this death cult hidden away in the depths of the ship. And we're going to be getting access to a brand new companion in this DLC known as Cabela. She is known as a blade dancer and comes with all these amazing moves that are extra bloody. Now also, if you didn't hear, there was a recent big patch update with tons of fixes. So if you missed out on that, that's also going to be a part of this. It just means that the game has jumped in terms of quality. And yeah, you can download the game right now by following that link in the description below and check out Void Shadows on Steam, PlayStation Store, and Xbox Store right now. All right, so let's talk about what's going on with that 7th operation, shall we? So you may remember a video that released some time ago, and it was by Focus Entertainment and was about crafting your play style. This was kind of like a dev series that they did release, but in this video, there's definitely something very interesting going on here. So if we check it out, you can see the operations menu here looks a little different, doesn't it? There is a 7th operation here. Yeah, that's looking very ominous, and it's a very small image, but guess what? I found a high quality image of operation number 7 that we will be getting, by the way, officially by the end of this year, if you're wondering. So check it out right here. This is what it actually is going to look like. And there's some major clues as to what's actually happening on this planet, because if we zoom in here, we can see these huge towering vines that are heading up into the atmosphere, and it is a very crucial feature, it seems, of this operation, because if we head into Warhammer 40K lore, we kind of look up and get an idea of what this is and potentially what the actual mission structure might be, the total goal for this operation. So check it out right here. Looks familiar, doesn't it? This is a Tyranid capillary tower, which absorbs a prey planet's natural resources. So this is a very big threat, and you better believe it. You would think that the Ultramarines would have their eyes on this as a target to take it down, but there's even more details here. It says this: as the last of the target star system's defenders fall, the capillary towers begin to feed the world's absorbed biomass back to the orbiting hive ship and its escorts. The massive living vessels extend tendrils through the upper atmosphere, which makes contact with the capillary towers as they grow to pierce the edges of the atmosphere. Now, it also goes on to say this as well: biomass is drawn up the towers through a combination of massive pumping organs and suction. Once the last of the defenders have fallen, the surviving bioforms of the Tyranid swarms hurl themselves into the digestive enzymes of the reclamation pools near the capillary tower. So this might actually be something in the map as well. Now, their bodies are broken down and devoured so that their biomass may be returned to the fleet to be recycled by the hive mind into new Tyranid organisms for future conquest. It sounds very ominous. And by the way, I absolutely love the look of this map. It looks very, very creepy. And if you're wondering, well, hey, what planet are we actually headed to? Well, it could be this planet right here, just a different part of the planet. Just imagine that, yes, they have perhaps like a hive ship floating over and these big tendrils going down, and it's kind of like poisoning the planet in a sense. You could see very much that this looks like the planet is nearly dying over here. So it could be a very ominous trek through this operation, trying to get to these big tendrils that are heading up into the sky, and perhaps detonating them, or maybe even sending up a bomb to the hive ship. Who knows? That's me completely speculating, but there's a lot of details in the actual screenshot that I didn't realize were right there in front of our face. So this could be a really, really good operation. I'm hoping so. Now, a lot of you probably will celebrate the fact that it seems like this operation centers around the Tyranid, which I think many of us agree are one of the funnest enemies to face off against in the game versus the 1000 Suns. So yeah, that's something that I'm absolutely loving about this new operation first and foremost. But yeah, let me know what you make of this. But I think this is pretty solid speculation as to what we will be getting from this 7th operation. But it is becoming more noteworthy that players are gravitating to only Tyranid maps, as posted right here. It says players like only Tyranid maps. Devs need to motivate playing Chaos maps because it's longer and harder with same XP reward, or they need to adjust the actual enemies on those maps as well to kind of match the fun playstyle that you get with the Tyranids. Or do you agree with this or not? Sound off in the comments down below. But it is an issue because I think people would kind of be underwhelmed if they were to do an Operation 8 and it ended up being about one of the factions that you feel like is kind of a pain to face off against. Yes, the 1000 Suns. So yes, I do think that this is something that the dev team definitely needs to consider when adding in new operations that perhaps center around the 1000 Suns going forward, because players might be underwhelmed and disappointed by that fact. But then again, I could be wrong. Some of you might absolutely love facing off against the 1000 Suns. So sound off in the comments below if there's any of you that like stick to those maps specifically. But honestly, I'm seeing that the majority of the community really, really loves the Tyranid focused maps. Now also, we got to talk about this one right here. Who else thinks that the Neurothropes are annoying ammo checks? Who thinks otherwise? I belong to the camp that does. Didn't like Neurothropes from the moment I first fought one, and my dislike for them only deepened when I started playing Ruthless. Yes, they deal lots of damage. Yes, they're way too tanky, but the worst thing about them is that they spend roughly 80% of the time fighting mid-air. Try fighting them without plenty of ammunition and weapons with reasonable range, and you won't have a good time. That is simply not fair and not fun. Neurothropes, as they are, would be fine as a bonus objective, but the squad can decide whether or not they wish to face. For the bonus armory data reward, their HP should be significantly toned down, so you don't need a wagon of ammo to deal with them. So yeah, maybe they can like lower the HP for them, but make them pack more of an oomph so you can really feel it if you're getting hit by them. That's just an assessment I have, maybe. Then again, sound off how you guys think they should be adjusted in the future, but I have to agree they are a bit of a pain in the butt. And whenever I see them, I kind of like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm just going to run away. There's very little incentive to really want to face off against them. Yes, they do buff other enemies around, which is also a pain in the ass, but yeah, I do think that there needs to be some level of adjustment here, because even like if you're playing as Assault, you got to remember you only get like a pistol, practically like a sidearm really. And if you run out of ammo, it is just a pain in the butt to deal with that sort of enemy. So I personally do think something does need to be done about the Neurothrope for sure. But we also have a PSA. You might have missed this the entire time you've been playing the game. Check it out. For those of you who sit and stare at the Briar bombs, you could shoot the bulbs to destroy them early. I've encountered an astounding number of people at lower difficulties who didn't realize this, so I'm putting it out there. The Tyranid Venom launchers have projectiles that can be destroyed. One person thought only the Meltas can do that, but any weapon can. Video for proof. So let's start this video over. Check it out right here. This is what he's talking about. These things right here. And as you can see, of course, he's taking out the little enemy there, but we're talking about these things in front of him. You can see there's bulbs that they attach to. You can actually destroy those. You don't have to worry about rolling through them. The game doesn't really explain this sort of mechanic, so maybe some of you didn't know the entire time, but there you have it. Now you know. Also, let's talk about this. I think that the 120 revive timer on Ruthless is bad, not because it makes the game harder, but because it is dull. You guys agree? No one enjoys failing to the enemies of mankind, only then to have to spectate the game for 2 whole minutes. The 1 minute timer of lower difficulties is reasonable. A minute is not that much. It feels like an adequate punishment for failure in the service to the God Emperor. 2 minutes turn an enjoyable game into a boring Let's Play. If I wanted to watch someone play the game, I'd look up a video on YouTube. In my opinion, the revive timer should be set to 60 seconds on Ruthless, and I'm sure there's a reply here that says skill issue. But we have this one right here. Anyone remember Left 4 Dead being in bondage? Tell your teammates come to save you. But yeah, the original poster did agree. Vermintide and Darktide did the same thing. I don't hate it. Honestly, it feels better than Space Marine 2. And you're just popping back into existence. More natural. For Space Marine 2, I'd like us to have a little animation for drop pod. Yes, even when we're indoors, it doesn't matter. It looked cool. Yeah, that would be pretty neat, I have to say. Would be kind of weird to have that pop up indoors, though, I have to admit. But yes, I have to say, if you're going to be playing on Ruthless, you're going to be punished. That's like the name of the game. If you're going to go into those difficulties, be prepared to be punished if you're going to be dying that often. So sound off if you think this should remain the same, or do you think the punishment should remain? All right, so we got to talk about Saber not making a critical mistake going forward. Check it out. It says, we're very smart with our money. Despite Space Marine 2's success, Saber won't repeat Xbox's greatest mistake that caused incredible backlash. Okay, so this article definitely piqued my interest. So we have a quote here from Tim Willits of Saber Interactive, and he goes on to say this right here. I have seen all the cycles. I started in 1995, and I remember the death of consoles. I remember the death of PC. I remember that, yes, there are always cycles, but good games and good teams will always be successful. Now, one of the things that Saber has done well is that we have studios around the world, and we focus on the right scopes for our games. We focus on the right deal for our games. Each of our studios has multiple projects, so we don't have 200 people just sitting around waiting for pre-production to finish. We're very smart with our money, and we focus on the core aspects of the game. We focus on what's truly fun, whether it's a $5 million game, a $10 million game, or a $50 million game. It doesn't matter. But you know what? How does this even relate to Xbox? It's a great point. You know, I've seen so many companies bite off more than they can chew, and it's been such a bummer seeing closure after closure after closure, and we've seen that particularly from Xbox as well. It seems like Saber is just not interested in heading down that road, which is really, really good news. So they're doing it way differently, and they're playing it safe, taking it slow, and I think it's just the best approach. And I say more power to them for that approach. Please, I would love to see them around basically forever, and it's a bummer whenever I see one of my favorite studios close. But yeah, this is great news, and it bodes well for the Space Marine franchise. It seems like it's going to be remaining in the hands of Saber Interactive going forward, considering the success of Space Marine 2. So it's nice to know that the dev team is really paying attention. All right, so yeah, we have got to go over your top comments. I said they were going to be a little bit different for a reason, and that's because my most recent Warhammer 40K video wasn't about Space Marine 2 at all. In fact, it was about Rogue Trader. This game is amazing. Check it out right here. Now, this was a sponsored video. Special thank you to the dev team for reaching out to me. I can't even tell you, I had so much fun making this video. It was a real surprise for me personally. I had not played Rogue Trader before this. I really didn't even know it existed, and it blew me away. It's an isometric tactical RPG that takes place on a void ship, and yeah, let's get into what you guys had to say about this one. So let's scroll on down here. It says, appreciate you talking about this game. It needs way more attention. That's immediately what I thought. The moment I got done finishing the game, I messaged my bros and I sent them screenshots. I'm like, guys, you've got to see this. Like, where did this come from? Because I come from playing like Fallout Tactics. I don't know if you guys remember that game. I absolutely love that. And it kind of reminds me of that as well. So yeah, to be able to play that sort of thing in the Warhammer 40K universe is a real treat. Now, also we have definitely making a new character when I get off work. Hell yes. Blade Dancer and Executioners are available as classes for Tier 2 characters. So you can be this or an Executioner. Yeah, there's tons of options of how you can build your character out. It's really cool. And it says, do you think the success of Space Marine 2 and Rogue Trader will lead to the revival of Dawn of War? I would not be surprised if that happened. I honestly think that that will happen because right now, Warhammer, I feel like, yes, it is already a very big franchise, but have the sneaking suspicion that it's only getting started. We still have the Amazon TV series to look forward to. At least I hope it's not canceled. There's been rumors about that one being canceled, but I think it is probably going pretty good considering that Henry Cavill has been playing Space Marine 2. So it seems like he's very much invested in this universe still. So yeah. All right, so next one, we have this right here. Space Marine 2 pulled me into the Warhammer universe, playing Inquisitor, Martyr right now, and then Rogue Trader is next. Nice, same. And you know what? I've been bouncing back and forth between 3 games. Space Marine 2, Dark Tide, and Rogue Trader. Literally, it's all I want to play right now. It's pretty wild how that happens. Also, we have this. What we really need now is 3D Warhammer 40K RPG with Space Marine 2 engine. Dude, that would be absolutely sick. Would you guys like to see a more like big open worldish type Space Marine game as well? Or even like Warhammer game? I think that would be interesting. Of course, you got to be careful with that. You don't want to make it redundant, boring, because some of these open world games, I will say, some of them can get very redundant and boring with some of the things they do. But, you know, there have been some that have been able to nail it. So anyway, I just think it would be very cool to have multiple planets that you could land on, explore, that sort of thing within this universe. That would be badass. But thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned here for more Space Marine 2 news and updates. I have you guys covered, and I will see you all next time. Take care.